yes, I'm sorry, there is something that I should have mentioned when I was talking about the budget with all of this, and this is clearly a tool that we can use to do that. But it's also a tool that we need people to focus on in terms of making real, effective, and rational plans. And as a result of that, the instruction to the functional plan teams in their initial planning is not to expect any new dollars. So some of the planning, I'll admit, has been modified by the assumption that there will not be additional resources.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's important that not only staff, administrative staff understand that, but board understand that as well. Because if we're suggesting, if we've approved this document and the elements of it, if we're moving along that pathway, then there has to be this mutual agreement that we can't stray too far from where we said our resources need to be placed to get the outcomes that we want. And we sometimes have that problem. We say we value X, but then we veer off and we don't place our resources to what we said as a group we valued. So it's important for us to stay focused on that.
Well, if I could add something to that conversation, is that it's also about reallocating resources, I think, which is extremely important. That in the plan and in the back of the plan, there's things that we put in there like the transportation changes, like the facilities issues and closing buildings. Some of those resources allocations then can be tooled into the part in the front that talk about additional resources and things in place. So, we have so much money, and it's a matter of aligning the work and the goals and reallocating resources within what we're doing to get the most out of the resources of what we're doing. And so by doing this, we'll become more disciplined and more strategically focused as an organization instead of random. And I think that's what any effective organization wants, that constancy of purpose, so that you have a rationale, you have a measure, you have a performance of what you're doing. And if you're spending $7 million on something, the question is, what are we getting for that $7 million? What's the expected outcome? Or should we not be doing that? That type of thing. So that's what all of this will lead us to be more transparent with the public and for them to understand what are they getting for the money they're investing.
My last question to the administration, and Ms. Nate may have already answered this, but as we go through the 09-010 budget process, will we be in a position to describe our budgetary allocations through the functional plan?
Yes, we believe that we will be able to map a good portion of the dollars to the specific plans. I'm not going to promise you that I can map every dollar to these plans at this point in the process, but the ultimate outcome would be for you to be able to look at an expected outcome, attach it to the goals, know how much it is, where the money's coming from, and be able to make resource allocations decisions based on that history.
You will also see and we'll talk about this later on this evening, that we'll be proposing to do some things differently with our allocations. Because as I quoted in the paper this morning in the article, that if you continue to do the same thing, you get the same results. So there will be some things that we'll be doing differently, and I'll explain later on why we'll be proposing to do that, and you'll have a chance to obviously deliberate on that at some point in time. But it is about how you target your resources to get the most effect of those resources, and we're questioning some things that we're currently doing, so we'll be making some suggestions about how to do some things differently with that regard.